Hello students, today you're going to make the Empire State Building. So you're going to make a real building, we're going to use some specific measurements, but at the same time we're going to let some other parts totally free to just go a little bit faster. So we're going to copy this famous building from New York City, one of the tallest buildings in the world, or at least a few years ago, before the Burj Khalifa. The Empire State Building. Now it's a big building, so we're going to do it in two videos. The first video is going to be to do the yellow part, and then the second video is going to do the top part. And then if we have time in the second video, we're going to add maybe King Kong on top. Okay guys, let's start. First part. So same as always, let's try to have the red axis in the same direction. For which reason? Simple. To make sure that we use the same measurements in the same direction. So we're going to start with the bottom part. It might look slightly different than this one, okay? Because I changed some of my measurements to make it easier for everybody. So we're going to start with the bottom rectangle. Again, avoid crossing any of these axes. We're going to start with 120. So we're going to draw a rectangle. Doesn't matter the size, but now we're gonna do 120, 60, enter. That's gonna be the bottom part of our building. We'll add after the sidewalk if we have a little bit of time. We're gonna push this 20, and we have the bottom part of our building. What else? Now you can see that on top of this we need to add a lot of different layers, and each of these layers is getting smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller. We're going to be smarter. We're going to draw all the prism of different heights, and then after we're going to destroy these prism. By destroying I mean we're going to get rid, like if we're playing with clay, by playing with a big prism, and then we destroy until we are left with this shape. So how are we going to do that? We're going to need to zoom here on top, have a top view, perfect, awesome, zoom, there we go. You can see that we have this face selected. I don't know if it's the case for you, but let's click once on the grass. And let's make sure that nothing is selected. I won't use the offset tool, but I want to draw rectangles from the center of this top shape. So how do we do it? We first need the line tool to subdivide the top with the midpoints. There we go. So we get a simple plus, and then from that center we'll build all these rectangles that we are looking for. When you use the rectangle tool, R for rectangle, make sure that you press once on control to have the little blue rectangle starting from the center. You can see it starts from the corner, starts from the center of that blue rectangle. So that's by pressing on control. And then you go over the center, and we're gonna draw a first rectangle. So you draw a rectangle you want, but the measurements when you release everything will be 65, 50. And then another one, 55, 40. Another one, 48, 36. Double check all these measurements on the PDF that goes with this tutorial to avoid getting crazy by trying to memorize all the measurements that I'm saying. Another one, 44 by 36. Another one. Oh no, I made a mistake. I was like, that looks strange. It was 44 by 32. There we go. 40 by 28. 36 by 24, and then finally 32 by 20. Perfect. We're going to erase that plus that we don't need anymore. It'll take a little bit of time. Same in all the directions. If you make a mistake, Control Z. And that was the hardest part. After that, it's going to be a piece of cake. Okay guys, so it doesn't look really like that one. What did I do? It's like if I crushed all the building from the top, like if a meteorite has just landed on top here and crushed everything down, like I flattened the whole building. So now the only thing that I need to do from the center outside is to push everything up. So same, double check all the measurements on the PDF. We're gonna push this one 320. Keep in mind that it's almost like the original measurements, but I transformed them to make them a little bit easier. 300 on this, 295, 275, 245, and only 75 here. So it's getting there, you can see it. We're missing a few things here on the right side. We need to destroy a few things here, but we're halfway through it. Remember that that's part 1. Part 2 will help you to do that little top part that is way more complex than the rest. So, next part is adding the side part. So, we're going to first add this little rectangle here. To go faster, we won't need to measure anything. Okay, try to place it as best as you can. It's a simple rectangle, slightly narrow, and then you push it up. Repeat, I'm not using anything specific, it's not perfectly symmetrical, but we're trying to go faster. I'll keep it the same way here, something similar, and I'm going to push it up. Very important, let's try to have the same level. That's the only thing that I care about. So how do we do it? Remember, I decide the one that I prefer and I do the push tool. I use the push tool and I place the push tool on the shape with the correct level, and we'll level up everything. Perfect. Next, let me show you what I want to do, but I want to do these little huggers. Now you can see that it would be a face, these are arms, and it seems like they're hugging the building and they have a backpack. So we're going to do exactly the same here. So we're going to transform that into a face, and we're going to have some little arms hugging. So how do we do it? It's not difficult. Let's do the face first. I'm going to use the line tool, and I'm going to decide how wide do I want that face to be. Okay. Again, we could use a ruler to measure the distance, but for the sake of this video, let's go faster. That's going to be where my head will be, and now I'll do exactly the same on the other side. You can do all your measurements if you want to keep a certain symmetry. And now I'm going to use the push tool and push this down slightly. Use the same level, and you will see on the other side it does it automatically. Okay. If you want to keep symmetry, you can just transform that face and try to find out if you're happy with what you get. Okay. This one is a little bit narrower. If you want to keep it the same way than the other, you're more than welcome to measure. Good enough. Now, what are we missing? Let's look at our huggers. What are we missing is this part here, that we don't have just the face, but also a body that is separated from the other. So how do we get rid of this? I imagine you know how to do it, because we've done it for the face. It was just adding lines, and then you push it down. Try to do it as best as you can. What do I mean by that? That it's almost symmetrical left and right. No, like here you can see that this part is a little bit too long, so I'm going to make it a little bit more narrow. Perfect. Do the same on the other side. Try to keep your symmetry as best as you can. Feel free to zoom out, zoom in, and to improve slightly what you've done by using the push tool. Yeah, that's fine. Perfect. Awesome. It's getting somewhere. It's getting somewhere. Now, what do we need to do? You can see here at the top, we destroy, then we get a level, and then we destroy again until reaching almost our little huggers. So how do we do it? Exactly the same way. We can start from this level here. Let me check. Don't want to make any mistakes. Yes. So hop, hop, push it down, erase this little segment, and I do exactly the same on the other side. If you want to keep a certain symmetry, it's not too bad. Same here. L, little segment, and then I push it down and I erase everything that I'm doing. Awesome. I repeat exactly the same thing with the next one, but this time I will add the segment slightly forward compared to what we've done, and then I will push this down. Push it, almost reaching the head. Even touching the head, it will look more symmetrical, like if the architect had thought about it. Perfect. Let's do the same on the other side. Zoom in, add the segments, and we are almost done for this first part. You can see here, not really symmetrical. I want to show you. You can see that when we don't use measurements, it looks a little bit weird, so we're gonna use the push tool and improve slightly everything that we're doing. Let's look on the other side. I didn't have time. Ooh, I was lucky here. Perfect. Let's add maybe the sidewalk. So let's go down. And do you know what? I'm going to do it in a different way to go faster. No, I know how can I do it faster sometimes. You need to think a bit more. Offset tool, and you copy paste the shape wider, and you get that little sidewalk. Because a sidewalk, it has a certain thickness, so give it a certain thickness and it will look more real. Perfect. Click once on the grass and part number 1 is done. You can see the top is slightly different. If you don't like it and if you prefer this, which looks more real, you can just remember, push everything slightly down, and it's going to be more similar. Okay, perfect. Well done.